A man stands at the end of his dock at night, reaching toward a small green light glowing across the water. The light marks the home of the woman he loves, the woman he lost years ago, the woman he has rebuilt his entire life and fortune around winning back. He throws extravagant parties he does not even enjoy, hoping she will wander into one. He has reinvented himself completely, erased his past, manufactured a dazzling new identity, all for her. And the tragedy that F. Scott Fitzgerald is about to show you is not that he fails to get her. It is that the green light was never really about her at all. In 2026, in a culture built to keep you reaching for a light across the water, The Great Gatsby is less a period piece than a mirror. Here is the strange thing about how we remember this 1925 novel. We file it under tragic romance, the story of a poor boy and a rich girl, and a love that could not survive class and circumstance. And that reading misses almost everything. Because Gatsby is not really in love with Daisy, the actual woman, with her flaws and her ordinary humanity. He is in love with an idea of her, a version frozen 5 years in the past, fused in his mind with everything he believes will finally make him whole. Daisy the person could never possibly live up to Daisy the symbol. And that gap between the real thing and the glowing idea of the thing is what Fitzgerald is really writing about. He is writing about longing itself, and the strange way longing can outgrow and outlive its object. Let me reframe the whole book. The green light is not a woman. The green light is the future you believe will complete you. It is the achievement, the relationship, the income, the body, the life that once you finally reach it will deliver the feeling of having arrived. Gatsby has organized his entire existence around reaching that light, and Fitzgerald gives us one of the most devastating images in literature when Gatsby finally stands beside Daisy, finally has the thing he chased for years, and the narrator notices that the green light, up close, has become just a light. The magic was never in the object, it was in the reaching. And the moment the distance closes, the enchantment dies, because the enchantment was made of distance. Psychology has a precise name for the machinery Fitzgerald is describing. It is called the hedonic treadmill. The research is remarkably consistent. We dramatically overestimate how happy reaching our goals will make us and how long that happiness will last. We get the promotion, the house, the relationship we longed for, and within a surprisingly short time, our baseline mood returns to roughly where it was, and we find a new light to reach toward. The reaching feels like it is about the destination. It is actually a feature of the reaching mind itself, which produces a new horizon every time you touch the current one. Gatsby is the patron saint of the hedonic treadmill. He just had the bad luck to run it at the scale of an entire life. Watch how Fitzgerald layers this. Gatsby does not just want Daisy, he wants to repeat the past, to recover a specific golden moment from years before and make it the foundation of his future. When the narrator gently tells him you cannot repeat the past, Gatsby is genuinely astonished. Of course you can, he insists. And in that exchange, Fitzgerald exposes the deepest engine of the whole tragedy. Gatsby is not reaching forward toward a future, he is reaching backward toward a memory, trying to use the future to install a past that has been polished by longing into something that never quite existed. This is one of the most human and most dangerous things we do, and it has only intensified in our time. Because consider what your environment in 2026 is engineered to do. Every feed you scroll is a parade of green lights, other people's arrivals, the vacation, the wedding, the success, the body, the life that looks from across the water, luminous and complete. You are shown all day an endless gallery of destinations that seem to glow precisely because you are seeing them from a distance, edited and lit and stripped of their ordinary texture. The entire apparatus is a green light machine, manufacturing longing at industrial scale, training you to believe that your own enchantment is just one more acquisition away. Fitzgerald wrote the original critique of this 100 years ago, and he wrote it about a single man and a single dock. We have automated it and pointed it at everyone. There's a saying in Uzbek culture that the neighbor's bread always looks larger. It is gentle and old, and it names the exact distortion at the heart of Gatsby. From across the fence, across the water, across the screen, what other people have looks bigger, brighter, more complete than your own, not because it is, but because distance flatters everything and hides the crumbs. Gatsby spent his life believing the bread across the water was the real bread, and never noticed he was starving at his own table. But here's where Fitzgerald turns the knife with real compassion, because he is not simply mocking Gatsby. There is something magnificent in him too, and the narrator says as much. His capacity for hope, his refusal to settle, his willingness to bet everything on a dream, these are not contemptible. They are, in a way, the best of the American spirit and the best of the human one. The tragedy is that Gatsby hoped. It is that he aimed his enormous capacity for hope at a green light that could never hold the weight he put on it. He poured a sacred longing into a profane and impossible object, a person who was just a person, a past that was just a past.
The reaching was beautiful. The target was the mistake. So what is the way out if the reaching mind will always generate another light? Fitzgerald does not preach an answer, but the structure of the tragedy points to one. The problem was never that Gatsby wanted. It was that he located the source of his completeness entirely outside himself and entirely in the future, in a single glowing point across the water. The antidote is not to stop wanting, it is to stop outsourcing your wholeness to the next acquisition, to notice that the enchantment lives in your own capacity to perceive and reach, and can therefore be turned, at least sometimes, toward the ordinary light you already have, the table you are already sitting at, the bread already in your hands. The green light loses its tyranny the moment you stop believing it is the only thing that can complete you. I want to add a careful word, because this story can feed a quiet modern ache, the sense that everyone else has arrived and you are still reaching. So let me say it directly. The comparison that makes you feel behind is built on the same illusion that destroyed Gatsby, the trick of distance, and it is not an accurate report on your life. If scrolling through other people's green lights regularly leaves you feeling that your own life is dim by comparison, the healthiest move is not to reach harder, it is to step back from the dock for a while, because no amount of reaching wins a race that is rigged by editing and distance. Your worth was never going to be settled across the water. Read The Great Gatsby again, not as a tragic romance, but as the most precise diagnosis ever written of the longing that runs your life. It gives you language for the green lights you reach toward, for the strange way arrival never delivers what the reaching promised, for the trick of distance that makes the neighbor's bread look larger and the past look golden. And it leaves you with one quietly liberating realization. The boats beat on, the narrator says, against the current, borne back ceaselessly into the past. He means it as an elegy, but you can also hear it as a question. If the current will always pull you toward some glowing light across the water, what would it mean just once to put down the oars, turn around, and notice the shore you are already standing on? It is worth lingering on one detail Fitzgerald places with surgical care, because it deepens everything. Gatsby's parties are enormous, dazzling, the envy of the whole region, and Gatsby himself barely attends them. He stands apart, watching, hosting a spectacle he does not enjoy, because the parties were never for his own pleasure. They were bait, an elaborate performance staged in the hope that one specific person might wander in. Think about how exactly that maps onto the way we now broadcast our lives. So much of what we display is not for our own enjoyment of the moment, but is staged, consciously or not, for an imagined audience whose approval we are reaching toward, a green light of attention and validation glowing somewhere across the network. We throw the party and stand apart from it, watching to see who notices, present at our own lives, mainly as their curators. Fitzgerald saw the loneliness in this a century before the technology that would make it universal. The man who throws the greatest party of the age and stands alone at the edge of it, watching the door, is not a relic of the jazz age. He is a startlingly accurate portrait of a person performing their life for a light across the water, while the actual life, the one happening in the room, goes unlived and unloved right in front of them. There is also a warning here about what longing does to time itself. Gatsby is so fixated on a polished past and a glowing future that he is almost never inside his own present, and Fitzgerald suggests this is the deepest poverty of all. A person reaching backward toward a golden memory and forward toward a green light is the one person guaranteed never to be where their life actually is, which is here, now, in the ordinary, unedited moment. The whole tragedy could be read as a man who was never once at home in the present tense, and who therefore missed his entire life while straining toward a version of it that lived only in his imagination. Tell me in the comments, what is the green light you have been reaching for, and what do you think you would actually feel if you finally touched it? If you want more deep dives that turn the stories you think you know inside out, subscribe and check the description for further reading. One honest note before you go. This video uses AI-generated audio and visuals, and it offers reflection, not professional advice. If comparing your life to the lights across the water has been wearing you down, that is worth talking through with someone you trust. This was just one reader's thoughts, offered to make you think.